The human skeletal system consists of all the bones, cartilage, tendons, and ligaments in our body. Altogether, the skeleton makes up about 20% of the person's body weight. An adult's skeleton contains about 206 bones. Children's skeleton actually contains more bones because some of them, including those of the skull, fuses together as they grow up. There are also some differences in the male and female skeleton. The male skeleton is usually longer and has a high bone mass. The female skeleton, on the other hand, has a broader pelvis to accommodate for pregnancy and childbirth. Regardless of age or sex, the skeletal system can be broken down into two parts, known as the axial skeleton and appendicular skeletons. It is a giant bone cell with about 20 or more darkly stained nuclei and a highly eosinophilic cytoplasm, and is formed in the area where active resorption of bone takes place. This is concerned with the bone formation, and it is found in the growing surface where the bony matrix is deposited. This cell is strongly basophilic and cuboidal or pyramidal in shape, and its nucleus is large with a single distinct nucleolus. It is trapped or imprisoned osteoblast within the organic matrix. Osteoblast becomes trapped within its own secretory material, thus the osteocyte remains trapped within the lacuna or the small lake. This cell has small void, highly chromatic nucleus. The skeleton serves 6 major functions: support, movement, protection, production of blood cells, storage of minerals, and endocrine regulation. The skeleton provides the framework which supports the body and maintains its shape. The pelvis, associated ligaments, and muscles provide the floor for the pelvic structures. Without the rib cages, costal cartilages, and intercostal muscles, the lungs would collapse. The joints between bones allows movement, some allowing a wider range of movement than others. Example, the ball and socket joints allows a greater range of movement than the pivot joint of the neck. Movement is powered by skeletal muscles, which are attached to the skeletons at various sites. Muscles, bones, and joints provides the principal mechanics for movement, all coordinated by the nervous system. The skeleton helps to protect our many vital internal organs from being damaged. First, the skull protects the brain. Second, the vertebrae protects the spinal cord. The third one, the rib cage, spine, and the sternum protects the lungs, heart, and the major blood vessels. The skeleton is the site of hematopoiesis, the development of blood cells that takes place in the bone marrow. In children, hematopoiesis occurs primarily in the marrow of the long bones such as the femur and tibia. In adults, it occurs mainly in the pelvis, cranium, vertebrae, and sternum. The bone matrix can store calcium and is involved in calcium metabolism. The bone marrow can store iron in ferritin and is involved in iron metabolism. However, bones are not entirely made out of calcium, but a mixture of chondroitin sulfate and hydroxyapatite, the latter making up of 70% of bone. Hydroxyapatite is in turn composed of 39.8% of calcium, 41.4% of oxygen, 18.5% of phosphorus, and a 0.2% of hydrogen by mass. Chondroitin sulfate is a sugar made out of primarily of oxygen and carbon. bone cells release a hormone called osteocalcin, which contributes to the regulation of blood sugar or glucose and fat deposition. Osteocalcin increases both the insulin secretion and sensitivity, in addition to boosting the number of insulin production cells and reducing stores of fat. Bone homeostasis is a dynamic equilibrium with the regulatory actions of three key bone cells: osteoclasts, osteoblasts, and the osteocytes. Bone homeostasis remains intact as long as the activities of the three cells are well adjusted and the net bone mass is maintained.
Like the Titanic, I can't believe this is my life, and it is like the blue, like the Atlantic, and I'm going down. Like the Titanic, it's blue, like the Atlantic, and I'm going down. Like the Titanic,
Sky's blue like the Atlantic, and I'm going down. Like the Titanic, sky's blue like the Atlantic, and I'm going down. Like the Titanic,
like the Atlantic, and